Welcome to The Drive with your automotive experts and hosts, Lauren Fix and Karl Brauer. Each week we deliver the latest breaking news, vehicle reviews, and inside look at what's happening in the automotive world. Buckle up, it's time to hit the road with The Drive.
Welcome to The Drive with Lauren Fix and Karl Brauer. Today we're going to have a special guest, Mike Harley, who lives in Idaho, and we're going to be talking about winter tires and a lot of other interesting facts that are going to help you learn about cars. Karl, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks, Lauren. And yes, we are deep in the winter time frame, which I kind of feel funny saying from Mission Viejo, California, but that's okay.
You don't get winter there.
No, I grew up in Denver, so I'm very appreciative of how much winter I don't get here. But Mike, a longtime California resident, has now moved up to Idaho, so he gets winter more than he's had since he was a very, very young child. And all, because I know you weren't born in LA or California, but you moved there fairly young. So, Michael Harley, tell us what's going on in your world, and then let's talk winter tires, because I know you know about
actually Karl, thanks for having me on the show, guys. Always a pleasure to be back and to see your smiling faces. I'm actually in Steamboat Springs, Colorado at the Bridgestone Winter Driving School. I got a yurt back there where they have coffee and hot cocoa. Got a bunch of Toyota loaner cars, running a bunch of Blizzak tires, and it's about 20 degrees outside.
So for those of you that are listening and not watching, you can watch the show on our YouTube channel, The Drive Car Show, and you can see that why Karl called Mike Parka is because he is wearing a very thick parka because he is talking about winter driving tires. And for those of you that experience winter or maybe experience snow tires at some point or wish you had them, we're going to talk about traction and contact patches, which is the only thing that touches the ground, because whether you're driving a little teeny mini Cooper or a gigantic Suburban or a pickup truck, there's still only 4 things touching the ground.
True. Yeah, exactly. And as Karl indicated, I moved from sunny Southern California, where we did have winter snow tires that were required to go up in the mountains and or chains. In Idaho, in most cold climates where the temperature generally is below 45 degrees, you want to run dedicated winter tires. And what I mean by that is anything above 45 degrees, all season tires, which is what 90% of your cars come with, have all season rubber. And the rubber is very flexible and pliable from 45 degrees up till Death Valley, 120 degrees. But when those temperatures drop below 45, the rubber actually stiffens and gets hard and it starts to lose grip. So even though you walk outside and go, look, I got plenty of tread, the truth is they're really not doing much for you. And that's why automakers came out with something called winter tires. And the way to define a winter tire is, first of all, it has a rubber compound that works really flexible down below zero, and it has tiny sipes. And what are sipes? If you walk up closely and look at your tread block, you have a whole bunch of little tiny cuts because the engineers figured out that snow sticks to snow. And the best way to take a look at that is what makes a good snowball. You take a wad of snow and you pack more snow onto it. And the engineers looked at little 6-year-olds playing out front in the snow, and they said, look, if we could get the snow to stick to the tire, I bet the tire sticks to the road. And that's what they did. So they came out with tiny little sipes and they hold the snow. And then Bridgestone took it even further and they came out with something called a multi-cell technology. And it almost looks like a sponge, where that little sponge holds even more snow and sticks to the ice. So, what I'm here to talk about is the fact that you want to make your driving safer, especially for you and your family, and have more grip. We all joke, everybody can go forward in the snow, but it's the hard part is cornering and stopping. And that's why we want to talk about winter tires.
Now, I live in Buffalo, so I have been here for many a blizzard. I moved here in 75 when I was too young to drive, but I just drove through a blizzard 2 years ago where they said, you can't go out. You're not allowed to go out. Well, people were out on the streets with snowmobiles. Well, I have a vehicle that has snow tires on it, and it's all-wheel drive, and not a problem. Big rooster tail snow out the back. It was an interesting experience when you need to get somewhere. And then, of course, one of our sponsors for the show is Issy Tire Socks. So if you're thinking, I don't need winter tires, I'm only going to go out in the snow every once in a while, or it requires chains in certain areas. The only exception would be like Rabbit Ear Pass, where you need real chains. You can put these tire socks on, get to where you need to be, dry them out and put them back in the bag and put them in your trunk. It's great for those people that say, I've got all seasons. I don't have a need for snow tires maybe once a year. So that's also another solution. And then there's all-weather tires, and we're going to talk about that with a Bridgestone engineer in just a few minutes.
I remember Mac Demir. You guys might remember that name. He worked at Motor Trend for years. Great guy. And I remember him saying this a long time ago when I was still at Super Street Magazine at Peterson Publishing and all. And he was kind of our, neighbor magazine in the building. We'd test together. And he had a great comment. He said, you know what's amazing about four-wheel drive and all-wheel drive vehicles? As soon as you let off the gas and or hit the brakes, they get dumb as hell. They forget all about the fact that they've got all-wheel drive or four-wheel drive. His not so subtle point being, stop thinking that because you've got all-wheel drive or four-wheel drive, you're invincible. That means, if anything, you're more dangerous because now you can get up to speed much more quickly and easily than cars that only have front or rear-wheel drive. But all of you still have the same disadvantage when it's time to slow down. An object in motion tends to stay in motion. And if you don't got friction to slow it down, it doesn't matter how many tires you had pulling you up to speed. None of them are helping you slow down. And
stopping is important. I always say you can have all the go power you want, but if you don't have whoa power, you got a problem.
Yes. Good point. All right. Well, this has been good. This has been a good opening to tires. And thank you, Mike, because I think a lot of people at this time of year, especially, they just kind of forget that it's important to have really good tires on your car during winter months.
Right. And you can always go to the Bridgestone winter driving school. I've done that as well. Yes. Absolutely worth your time, especially if you have a new driver and you're a little concerned as a parent. It's worth it. They have all different levels of schools, from I'm a teen driver to no, I want to do some snow racing. That's a ton of fun, and you really learn about car control, which makes you a better driver on the track and on the street.
And what I was going to say is make it a long weekend to go skiing, because that Steamboat's got some incredible skiing in the local mountains.
It certainly does. I haven't skied in years. I do miss that, but
a little bit of everything up there in Steamboat. It's a very fun place to go, winter and summer. Yep. All right, this has been a good opening segment. We're going to be right back with more things after these messages from The Drive with Lauren and Karl.
With all this talk about cars, and we're all dealing with winter right now, there's a lot of confusion, and people buy their vehicles and they go, it's got all seasons. I'm good all season. Not really true, because now there are all-weather tires and there are winter tires. So we have Todd Chapman, product manager for Bridgestone Americas. Hi, Todd. Tell us about tires, because this is confusing to a lot of consumers.
Sure, and I can understand the confusion. Even a lot of tire stores, when they advertise things, an all-weather and an all-season tire might be within the same search. So, how do you know which one's which? And I think a couple of things to highlight here. Probably one of the biggest differentiators for when someone's searching for tires is if they're looking for the Three Peak Mountain snowflake rating. So that's a certification that goes on a tire that has gone through some testing that shows that it has a higher level of winter traction than a tire that doesn't have that. And when we talk about all-weather tires do have that certification mark to show that it has enhanced winter traction over a standard all-season. And you might ask, well, why do I need it? It says all season in the name. Why do I need an all-weather tire when all seasons? And ultimately, the all-season tire has some winter capability, but it's not really meant for severe winter conditions. And when we look at an all-season tire, it can get through some snow, a little bit of it. But in reality, the main use case for those tires is going to be moderate climates where you might get one snow a year, a little bit of cold temperatures. You don't really have any issues with severe winter conditions. An all-weather tire, on the other hand, it kind of expands upon that, gives it a larger range of use case, because you have that additional winter capability with it. And so you can go a little bit further. It has better traction capabilities in the winter and snow and everything else. But as you mentioned at the beginning, there's also the true dedicated winter products available out there. So within the Bridgestone lineup, we have Blizzak products.
My favorite.
A lot of people might just call winter tires Blizzaks because it's such a well-known name in the industry. And a winter tire takes what an all-weather tire can do, and it makes it even better, especially in those winter conditions. The difference there is a winter tire, it's only meant for winter seasons. So, when the temperatures get warm, you need to pull that tire off of your car and put a different tire on for your summer seasons. Because ultimately, the winter tire has a different compound on it that's meant to, it's going to be softer at those colder temperatures.
Like a snow boot, right?
Yeah, exactly. and you've got all those little biting edges on the tire, and you want those biting edges to really work and do what they're meant to do. So the tire needs to stay soft and pliable at those really cold temperatures. If you try to drive that tire in a summer condition, it works fine, but it has an increased wear versus, say, a traditional all-season tire or maybe an all-weather tire might in those warmer conditions. So you'll pull that tire off for the summer, bring it back on for the winter. But winter tires are significantly better for that winter performance because they are designed for one season. We have additional biting edges in it. We have additional grooving in it. We have unique compounds, and those compounds can really enhance the winter performance.
It's funny. I just came back. I know I met you there at the Bridgestone Winter Driving School. And as someone who's from Detroit, who lives in Buffalo, we know winter, but boy, you learn a lot. So if you get a chance, are you not comfortable in winter? You should do the Bridgestone Winter School. Can you tell us a little bit about that? Because I think that was absolutely worth the time.
Yeah, so we partner with a school out in Steamboat Springs, Colorado. They offer different driving experiences depending on your experience level. Might be beginners from like a team driving experience all the way up to pro rally drivers. And ultimately, it's all focused on winter driving. So they have a dedicated facility out there that has snow that's pristinely white and not, it doesn't have any salts or anything like that on it. And you can go out there and whether it's just standard car control, how to handle a situation where you're in ABS braking in snow conditions, or lightly turning and figuring out what to do to make sure the car doesn't spin for a team driver. Or as we mentioned earlier, they have everything up to like rally style driver experiences where you're doing very high speeds, doing J-turn maneuvers where you're spinning the car around at speed and then going the opposite direction. It's a really neat experience out there.
It is great. And the key is to go out and practice in a parking lot, especially if you have a new driver, and check your tire pressure once a month. I always say that against the number inside your driver's door, right?
That's right. Yeah. Yep.
All right.
That is a key thing to do.
Well, thank you so much, Todd. And check out their winter tires. As a personal owner of Blizzaks, I know they work. I've been to the school, and they have proven to me that their winter tires know how to grip in the snow and on the ice. Thanks a lot, Todd.
Thank you.
Welcome back to The Drive with Lauren and Karl. And on this episode, where I've also got our special guest, Michael Harley. Now, we took a quick break and had Bridgestone kind of give us a lot of information about tires because, well, it's the wintertime and there's a lot to say about tires right now if you're going to try to be safe. But I think this next segment is a little more kind of dark, really. And it's certainly a little more disturbing, in my opinion. And that is what's going on with the DMV at various states. And I was not aware of this, so I have full credit to Lauren for ferreting out this information and shining the light of truth on this, or at least the light of awareness. But the DMV, as you know, you got to go there and do all these things. Oh, sorry, real quick. I wanted to say this segment is brought to you by iSeeCars.com. It's where I work as the executive analyst, and we do a lot of data crunching, and it's very helpful for car buyers who are looking to find their next car. And it's actually quite cogent to this segment because we're talking about data and what the DMV is doing with our data. It's okay for IC Cars to look at all the car listings and come up with all these different elements of how much cars cost and which cars are selling well and all these other studies we do with what best time of year to buy. I don't know if it's okay for the DMV to take all the information they have on people who use them for registration and driver's licenses as a data harvesting business model to make a lot of money and sell that to other companies. Now, we know that Apple does that with all your Apple iPhone information. We know that's what most companies, every time you go somewhere and they're like, well, we need all this stuff from you before
we need your email. Yeah.
Yeah. And honestly, it annoys the hell out of me. Like, I feel like I have set up junk emails, junk phone lines, and junk web addresses so that I don't get all the spam that all these people are looking to do to send messages and market to me from the data harvesting. And it annoys me that happens all the time. But to know that I'm not even being able to avoid this, I have to get a driver's license. All of us do. I have to register my car.
It's all about money. It's about money and data.
Yeah. And Lauren, these companies, i.e. the DMV,
that's the federal government, mind you, your state government.
My tax money's paying for that, right? These guys are not in the business. The government shouldn't be in the business of making money off of me. Okay. You know what your income already is? Me. I pay taxes. That's what your revenue stream is.
Right.
Why are you leveraging information that you get about me to make more money? Unless you want to give it back to me, sure. Okay, let's talk. If you're coming out with
Nah,
lots of
that
money,
is
you're making-
never going to happen.
that's not happening though, is it? So anyways, Lauren, you give some more details because you ferreted out what was going on here.
All right. There's a Driver Privacy Protection Act called the DPPA that was from 1994. And there's not supposed to be taking your information and selling it. That means companies can't take that. That means that insurance companies can purchase, but can't sell your data. But that doesn't mean the Department of Motor Vehicles, your state is run by your Department of Motor Vehicles, is literally taking your information and they're calling it for a legitimate purpose. And they're selling your data. So they know your address, right? That's on there. They know what you drive. They know how old you are. They know the date you were born. And they know a lot of other information because that information is then sold to the insurance company and to whoever else wants to spend money. To give you an idea how much money is being spent, because then I want to hear Michael Harley's perspective on this. California pulled in roughly $50 million in 1 year selling drivers' data. Florida made $77 million. Michigan raked in $81 million for data access fees, they call that, which means they basically sold your data. New York State, where I live, the Department of Motor Vehicles earns around $58 million a year annually selling records and record searches. Illinois banked $45 million. And even small states like Rhode Island, where there isn't as many people, they made $400,000 selling driver's data. So 42 states do this, and it's no accident. It's actually a budget line item.
Wow.
That is absolutely insane. And
Go ahead, Mike. What's your thoughts?
like Karl, I mean, thankfully I follow Lauren, so I get your newsletter, and my jaw hit the ground. Like Karl, I had no idea. I figured I walked into like my taxes. I figured that was kind of private. Hopefully, they're not selling my tax data.
They're probably
But,
selling that too.
you know, they go the DMV. So I did some homework before I came on board, and I realized they're selling this to insurance companies, to body shops, to a whole bunch of people that I don't really want to have my
Extended warranty companies.
my address, my driving record. I mean, there's a whole bunch of stuff on there that is really, really personable, and you know, it's too deep. It's enough to get you in a lot of trouble if it leaks out. And
Oh, absolutely. How about it that you need glasses when you drive, or
my tax money is paying for them to make money, and that doesn't make sense.
Yeah. I'm funding their business model with my tax money. And don't forget too, as far as the kind of sensitivity to this information, remember when there was the big kind of kerfluffle over GM selling the driver history and driver behavior of a guy in a Bolt, right? There was someone who was driving one of their electric cars. GM could see exactly how he was driving it, how hard he was hitting the gas, how fast he was going in different locations, whether he was going over the speed limit. And then he sold that to the insurance company, didn't tell the driver that that was even possible, let alone that they were doing that. And all of a sudden he got a much higher insurance bill. And when he called the insurance company, he said, why did my rates just like almost double? They, to their credit, at least were honest and said, oh, well, we have all this data that shows how you're driving and we don't consider that safe driving. And that we got that from General Motors, who owns your car. And there was a big legal challenge and all that. So if that isn't allowed, and it shouldn't be, why are DMVs able to sell all this thing? You know, it's the same thing.
there's this money.
We know why it's happening, but why is it allowed to happen? That's the question. There's a presumption of a certain level of privacy that, well, probably most of us are already overestimating and all. But this is just another example where be aware, if you're going to the DMV every year, they know a lot about you and they're probably selling the information to make money off you.
Well, think about it. I mean, the insurance companies want to insure you to be safe. Now, they're getting other information, including from your rearview mirror. So don't think that, they're not getting it. That rearview mirror is made by a company called Gentex. It's Gentex. They track you, your eyes, the driver, the passenger, someone in the second row, including your children, your dogs, whatever. That information is owned by the companies, and the car companies sell them. Not all of them. There's one company that does not sell your data. I'm going to surprise you both. It's Tesla.
Wow. All right. We're going to come back after this break with more information and another good segment, but crazy stuff. Keep your eyes open and maybe your mouths and your wallets shut, because they're taking it from you as much as they can. We'll be right back with The Drive with Lauren and Karl.
Welcome back to The Drive with Lauren and Karl and our special guest, Michael Harley, who is an automotive expert. You do some really great content, Mike. And tell everybody where we can find some of your great articles.
Right now, one of my biggest outlets is Forbes, and I want to actually thank both of you because I'm getting a lot of content material from IC Cars and Karl. And Lauren, your blog posts and your website are also a great resource. I'm always using both of you guys for quotes. And thank you for the quick turnaround, because a lot of times I'm writing these stories at midnight. So shout out to Lauren and Karl for last minute texts.
I'm a night owl. Yeah. So this this segment, I want to talk about something that is really, we'll just say, sticking in my craw. Kill switches. Now, you may not have heard of that, but Section 24220 of the infrastructure bill that passed in 2021 under the Biden administration was kill switches. Now, they didn't call it officially that, but they basically said that part of the technology that must be in all cars starting in 2026, and I'll tell you what the holdup is from it actually being in vehicles, but the beginnings of it are already there, is if the vehicle thinks that you're under the influence of alcohol, drugs, whatever, or distracted, the vehicle can shut off or not start at all. How are you going to do that? How are you going to get that technology? So it's supposed to detect alcohol. Well, unless you breathe into a breathalyzer. And by the way, there are over 30 different devices available today that if you had a DWI, judge would come in and say, listen, you want to drive, you're going to have this. Typically, these people don't own new cars. They're spending money on alcohol and not on cars. And they can put that in or mandate that by court order. But what they're trying to do now is, no matter who you are, you're guilty till proven innocent.
Hang on, Laura, real quick.
Yeah.
Those are ignition kill devices. They just don't want the start.
This is different.
Right.
Thank you for adding that, Michael. On your fingertip, you're supposed to touch the start-stop button. The technology is supposed to say, hey, Lauren had tequila before she got in the car. It can detect that and the car won't start. Well, first off, I personally wouldn't do that. I'm against drinking and driving, so we should all of us are. But what it's doing now is determining through things, like I said in the previous segment, there's a company called Gentex that tracks your eyes and everything. There's other companies that compete with them where they track your eyes. They listen in your car. They're already doing it. Your phone already listens. Your center screen collects all that data, and all that data is being used in a computer somewhere, not a person. It's not like Karl and Michael and I are going, hey, that guy and that whatever, they were drinking, we're going to stop them from starting the car. This is all done essentially through AI or through computer technology. A computer is going to decide you've got alcohol in your system, you're distracted while driving, and it will slow the car down, put on your four ways, and make the vehicle stop. It didn't say where it was going to stop. Could it be in a bad neighborhood? Could it be on the side of the road of a highway? Could it be bad weather? Could it be that maybe you just had your nails done or you were cleaning paint off a paintbrush and you were using acetone? We don't know any of this, and that technology doesn't exist. They're in the process of making that technology. So as of today, it can track your eyes. We've seen that in the Polestar. What did we just drove a Chinese car, Karl. You and I did it.
BYD Tang L, Tangl, BYD
right.
Tang.
And it definitely had a camera with two little red lights, because I got in the car with someone from Lucid who wanted to see the inside of the vehicle. And I said, careful. That's the moment you sat in that car, that light lit up and I noticed it. Yeah, and it's tracking your eyes, probably absorbing everything from your phone too. It was a Chinese car, so it's a whole nother conversation we will have in another episode. But the interesting thing is this technology does not exist today. So according to the Department of Motor Vehicles, and I have contacted Sean Duffy, National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, when this technology comes into play, it'll be through your start-stop button. So this is a problem. What are we going to do about it? What can we do about it? And there's a million scenarios that will upset you. I'm sure you get some insight on this, Mike.
Yeah, I mean, my biggest fear, like you said, is what if this thing inadvertently shuts me down on a bridge? You know, a busy bridge, the Bay Bridge.
Oh my
gosh.
What
if it inadvertently shuts my daughter down on a dark highway at night at, 10 o'clock at night when she's doing everything correct? Or how does it know I'm the proper driver of the car that you're trying to stop?
Good point.
I mean, you have so many unanswered questions. And, I'm a big proponent of taking someone who has driven under the influence and has a court-appointed kill switch. And I use the kill switch is the wrong word because it just doesn't allow the car to start. Vehicle immobilization switch.
Yeah,
that's a really, really good idea.
Basically.
But, the kill switch to stop a car in its tracks or 100 yards down the road, I mean, there are so many. you and I, as we drive, we're trained to make logical decisions. Hey, I need to pull over. We've even talked about it. If your car starts to break down, you get a blowout. You don't jam on the brakes and stop. You look for a safe place. You coast. You control the car differently.
Put on
And
your four
on
ways.
that note, what if you get a blowout the second the car decides to kill your car?
Yeah,
That could be a problem.
It's also just the inaccuracy of these systems. I don't know about you guys, but I was driving a bunch of cars in the past 2 months between North American Car of the Year testing and World Car of the Year testing, and almost all of them now have these cameras in the mirrors or mounted on the steering column somewhere, as you're saying, Lauren, or in the gauge cluster. Bottom line is they're watching you, and then they start screaming at you, distracted driving. They get the little
or take a break.
Yeah, they get the coffee thing coming up. Stop and get coffee, like that. And it's like, look, I looked away for some reason and stuff. I always want to tell people, it's like, how I judge someone's driving, their driving record. Okay. If I've put on hundreds of thousands of miles and I've been driving for 41 years and I haven't even hardly had any accidents, and I certainly haven't injured anybody, I kind of don't need any computers to help me. It would suggest, right? And sadly, there's plenty of people out there who probably do need more driver assist systems to be safe. And certainly, I feel like a lot of young people, they're starting to just rely on this stuff. And we're just like we've trained out the ability to drive manual shifts or change spare tires for most people under the age of 30. We're training out basic driving skills because driver assist systems kind of mask it. But they get it wrong a lot. Bottom line is these things get it wrong a lot. So I could imagine that I'm fine, but for whatever reason, the car has decided I'm not fine, and It's got me stopped in, some neighborhood off of an LA freeway as I was trying to cut through between Camarillo, where I've got property, and down here in Orange County, and trying to get in between those two, kind of go through the heart of the beast, as I call it, LA County, and it decides it's going to stop me in the middle of that because it thinks I'm.
How about this? You all think we've all been in a rush. Something happened. Someone needs your help. Your mom, your sister, your whatever, your friend, and you're panicked. You get in the car and you can't start the car. Now you're like, somebody needs my help. I need to go. Your vehicle is what I call in kill switch jail. How do you get out of it? Yeah. So you can't call the dealer and say, hey, I bought this whatever from you. I need it unlocked. They're going to go, we don't have a control over that. You can't call the brand and say, hey, I'm calling your corporate offices. Could someone help me? They can't control it. You can't call the police department. How do you get out of kill switch jail? Yeah. That is the big factor. So when this was brought up, they asked people in the industry to comment. And so this is my second time getting to speak in front of Congress, and I didn't get to go there personally. This was during, COVID and all that, but I did get to do it through a phone call in. And I'll tell you, I made a lot of people think, they think, oh, this is great, until it's you and somebody needs your help. Yeah. That's when it's concerning. And that's when people need to start thinking, now, what do we do about it? That is the question. And I would say, make sure to write your congressperson, House and Senate, and say, this has to be removed. This has to be stripped out of the infrastructure bill.
Yeah. No, I think you're right, Lauren. It's scary stuff. All right, we're going to take a break here, and we will be back with more on The Drive with Lauren and Karl.
Welcome back to The Drive with Lauren and Karl. This segment brought to you by Car Coach Reports. It's more than just knowing which car you want, which you can find at IC Cars. But if you're looking for what's really going on in the automotive world, especially like what we're talking about on our show today, check out Car Coach Reports on YouTube. All my car reviews are on Car Smarts. Okay, this is a very interesting subject since we're talking about surveillance. Have you ever seen those little cameras at intersections? They're made by a company called Flock, F-L-O-C-K. And you may not realize it, but next time you're walking or driving and you stop at an intersection, look up. You'll see a little teeny camera with a little solar panel. Those were also paid for by the infrastructure bill from 2021. And the money is going to your little town or your community. And they take that money and they get these cameras and they install them. And the information then goes to a company called Flock. They're based out of Atlanta, Georgia. They're supposed to get rid of that information after a short period of time, but that information is also for sale. And that's where people start to get upset. Now, have you seen any of these, Mike, in the state of Idaho?
Yeah, we have them all over the place. In fact, there's two different kinds. We have the Flock cameras, and then we have access. It could be even the Flock cameras that I can click on a map of the city of an intersection, and it displays the intersection in real time.
Really? So you actually see it? Is it?
Oh yeah, And if you looked at the map of the city, there is a red dot. There's got to be 1,000 flock cameras in the city.
Do you know they collect not just your car, year, make, and model, the license plate, also your bumper stickers.
And your driving behavior too, I believe.
Yes, roof racks. And if you've got any sort of dents or damage on your car, it's collecting that data.
So once
Does that
again,
scare you?
yeah. So once again, kind of like the DMV thing, kind of like the kill switches. This is kind of our don't leave your house anymore because everyone's watching you episode.
Just listen to us on the radio.
But yeah, once again, we've seen modern technology being kind of utilized in a less than friendly way. We can make all the George Orwell references that we want, but yeah, if your car has any kind of identifying marks, and they all do, from color, make, model, and license plate, then these cameras know exactly when and where you're going, and probably how fast you went by, and maybe even who was in the car with you, and all sorts of other stuff. So once again, be aware when you're out, because you're probably having more tracking going on than you thought.
And my concern is not the 1% of cases when it comes into play, like there's a carjacking or missing persons, and they're saying, hey, where do we find that white Camry with this license plate? And they tracked it, and they've done that in Boise. But it's the 99% of the law-abiding citizens who are doing everything right, but are simultaneously being tracked.
So guilty until proven innocent?
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. And it once again goes back to data breaches, data leaks. All of a sudden, somebody inadvertently sells all of Lauren and Karl's driving behavior. The insurance company gets it, and you're both uninsured. And it wasn't even you driving the car because you lent it to your neighbor because he had to run down and grab something at the grocery store.
Right. And that can happen to anybody.
Yeah, that's exactly the thing. Is once again, you're taking one component or one perspective on something that's happening, but you don't necessarily know all the other elements that went through it. I always think of the time when we were in Hawaii, and a long time ago, family trip, and my sister literally fell off one of the waterfalls. It's the Seven Falls of Maui. If you've been out there, the road to Hana, the whole thing. Yeah. Very picturesque, very beautiful. Also very scary if somebody gets injured, because you're not near any kind of civilization. Like the closest hospital is very far away, and it's a twisty road to get there, 2-lane road to get back to civilization. And she fell off one of those falls, gashed her head open, and we were rushing to get her to the hospital, and we're waving like stuff out the window and passing cars where it was safe on this twisty 2-lane road to try to get her, because she's losing blood. If you didn't know what was going on, you'd have thought, what kind of crazy ass drunk person is driving that car behind me and all? But it's like, well, the crazy person, the dad who's crazy, panicked about his daughter, making sure she survives because she just fell off a waterfall. And so what, again, would the thing we were talking about last segment, the kill switch, be like, this person's driving crazy and fast, we're going to kill the car's thing, and now we can't get to the hospital? Or would the camera light up and say, this is how we saw you driving, your insurance rates are doubling because we saw on a camera how you were driving and all? It's like, yeah, there was a reason behind that, and it wasn't because I'm a dangerous driver. So technology.
Hopefully she was okay. That sounds pretty scary.
20 interior.
Karl pushed her.
No, I wasn't even there. It was a long story, but all of a sudden everyone's rushing back to the car. I'm in the parking lot, and I'm like, what is going on? And Anne's got this big towel around her head and stuff like that. And 20 internal stitches, the kind you never remove, and 20 external, 40 stitches. And once we got her to the hospital, we put that.
She has a scar to remember.
Forehead, right here, and all. It took years for that thing to finally fade, but it was a nasty hit.
Wow, I'm glad she's okay. And there are times that I think we all run into that, and that's where those flock cameras and these kill switches and these mirrors that track everything. There has to be something that you can do when you can't reach an ambulance, police department, fire department, which you would, I'm sure you tried to do, but if there's no cell service, and there are areas in Hawaii where there is no cell service.
There was no faster way to solve this problem. I don't even know if there was a helicopter service out there and where they could have landed, but there was certainly no way. The time for an ambulance to get there and get back to the hospital where she could be properly treated would have been way worse than what we did, which was to get her to the hospital as quickly as we could.
So these are the kind of things in the scenarios that we keep bringing up. And we just want you to think about this. And when you hear these crazy rules and regulations that either we discuss or you see it on our outlets, whether Mike's writing about it in Forbes or Karl's writing about it or I am, this is when you need to reach out to your elected officials and say, hey, this isn't right.
Yep.
We'll let you think about that, and we'll be right back.
Welcome back to The Drive with Lauren and Karl. I'm Karl Brauer, and this segment is actually brought to you by Karl Brauer Cars. That's my YouTube channel where I'm constantly updating it with everything from road tests to, well, executive interviews. A lot of those happen on there, and a wide range of cars. Might be a Nissan Leaf, might be a Lamborghini Revuelto, or anything in between. Let's talk about repairing cars, Lauren. I want to get your and Mike's opinion on the idea that when you have a car and you're going to own it, hopefully for a long time, and you want to get it fixed because cars sometimes break. I think we've all experienced that. It's getting harder and harder potentially on modern cars to get them fixed because of the technology, once again, technology we're talking about that's in modern cars and who you need to go to get them fixed. But Lauren, kind of like some of these other topics, you're all over this one. So tell us what's going on with this Right to Repair Act.
Yeah, I covered this on my Car Coach Reports channel on YouTube. You can also find my website at Car Coach Reports. I wanted to cover this because this happened to a friend of mine. They wanted to get their car fixed. They went to a local repair shop. It wasn't something that was a warranty or a technical service bulletin. And they said they couldn't do it because there is proprietary software. And that meant you had to go back to the dealer. But you should be able to have the choice where you repair things, whether it be your phone, your car, your refrigerator, whatever it is, you should be able to do that. But what a lot of manufacturers are doing across the full line of literally anything you buy that's technology is they're holding that information and they're calling it the Right to Repair Act and trying to undo it. So manufacturers say it's proprietary. We invested in this. We're not going to give it to the repair guy. But you as a consumer lose your choices at that point. So there is something called the Repair Act. It is in Congress. It's most likely to go through. So when you have these new high-tech cars, whether they be electric or hybrid or plug-in hybrid or gasoline, there's so many processors in them and so many computers that people want to be able to get them repaired. So that's why the automotive aftermarket is pushed very heavily to get this done. It is, just if you're keeping track, it's HR, it's House Bill 906. I am monitoring it. Right now, it is been in discussion, so we want this to pass. Some states have passed it, only Massachusetts that I'm aware of, but that means that you can go to your favorite repair shop and they can say, we've got the software. We can fix your car, Mike. So have you run into that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a DIY guy, which is a do-it-yourselfer. I do my own oil changes, brake fluid flushes, brake everything. And I started running into these problems. Oh my God, go back to like 2010 with an Audi that I couldn't release the parking brake without
the special tool
software. Yeah. And I've got two Porsches and I had to buy what's called a VAGCOM. It's a Volkswagen Group communication device. But what you're getting at is the point where the manufacturers are trying to make you go to the dealers only to get services because they have proprietary computers, proprietary training. And I think that's wrong. You should be able to go to your local mechanic, dedicated shop, or do it yourself to a certain extent. But it's just unfair. I mean, I've paid off my cars. I own them hook, line, and sinker, and I'm still beholden to the manufacturer. I'm still beholden to their dealership. What if I don't have a good relationship with the dealership? What if I like my local independent? And it just doesn't make sense. People should be able to work on their own cars and go to local, shops.
Sounds like they're in need of funds.
What if their dealer isn't near you? What if you live somewhere and there isn't a dealer?
Look at me. I'm in Boise.
Yeah. The closest dealer is 100 miles away for your particular brand. But you've got an independent guy that's 5 minutes away and he can work on it, except he can't because the car won't let him.
Right. I used to be a dealer trainer. So we would train the dealers on the new product coming out. And one thing I did learn is when you talk to the service department managers, they have something called dealer retention. So whether you buy a car and it includes maintenance, some cars do, some don't, or not, believe it or not, only 30% of every 100 cars go back. So you sell 100 cars, 30 of them come to you for service. The other 70 go to independent repair shops because they don't want to wait. No, I didn't like the dealer. I didn't like the sales guy. This is closer. I bought the car at a state. I moved, whatever it might be. Consumers should be able to have the choice whether they go to a chain of repair shops, a local person, do it themselves, or go to the dealer. So this is how they bring up what they call dealer retention, getting consumers back into the dealer because sales guys love it. Hey, Mike, I see you got a new whatever. It's 3 years old. You should trade it in at our newest model. See, it's captive audience, but you don't get that if they don't come back for service. And you have no say in how much it costs because you can't go to the competition.
Yeah,
Very
it's
interesting.
not a good system, and it certainly shouldn't be something we have to deal with.
Yep.
All right. Well, this has been another great show. Thank you, Mike, for joining us. We had Michael Harley on, and we will be back for our next episode next week on The Drive with Lauren and Karl.
You've been listening to The Drive, your trusted source for the latest car news, expert reviews, and real insights into the automotive world. Thanks for riding along with us today. You can check out the entire archive of every episode on our YouTube channel, The Drive with Lauren and Karl. Be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode, and join the conversation by leaving your comments. We love hearing from you. Until next time, stay safe, enjoy the ride, and we'll see you right back here on The Drive.